5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I appreciate us having this hearing on this really important issue. If you think about problems that enter the United States, there's really only 5 ways for them to get in, right? They come from Canada, they could come from the Pacific or the Atlantic, they come from the air, or they could come from Mexico. And so without one of those 5 methods, you know, we're an island on our own. And I think that we've seen a substantial number of issues in this country, particularly illegal immigration and drugs coming in from Mexico, and is a problem that we have to deal with because they're also an important neighbor and friend. And so we've got to come up with a way to make this relationship work. But I think what is affecting this even more is the impact of insidious actors who may be affecting Mexico, and that is China, a country that I believe sees itself at war with the United States, trying to push us out as the dominant superpower in the world. And we can see what has happened in Mexico to make that happen. You know, there's no reason, you look at all the people that are dying from fentanyl in the United States, and the source of that's generally from China. If you're in the drug dealing business, not that I ever have been, but I would presume killing your customers is not a winning strategy, because they can't give you any more money if you kill them. So why do we have this insidious problem with drugs that kill people? Well, because the purpose of getting it is not to make money, is actually to kill Americans. So I've got some questions. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Holm. We've seen how Chinese organized crime has infiltrated Mexico and Latin America broadly in recent years. How have you seen Chinese influence in the drug trade from Mexico increase, and how has that influenced how Mexico conducts its foreign affairs with the United States?
I appreciate the question, Congressman. I believe that President Sheinbaum also recognizes the potential influence of China in Mexico and has sought to stem that in a number of ways. She's done that through trying to control the trade coming in from China, which is certainly a key part of keeping out precursor chemicals. They're collaborating with us, having just recently concluded a memorandum of understanding to share information on air cargo, which will be helpful in being able to track shipments coming in and what is in those. So we definitely see the real risk there, the potential impact of China, but I believe we're both committed to working together to ensure that it doesn't harm our respective countries.
Well, I appreciate that. So to just kind of give an example of this, and I'm interested in your perspective on it. So just this October, a couple months ago, Mexico extradited Zidong Zhang to the United States. As I know, I'm certain you know, he was designated by the DOJ as one of the world's top drug traffickers. He was accused of smuggling tons of chemical precursors. I don't know why we don't just call it fentanyl. It makes it just sound less bad. They're precursors. Well, you know, if I take all the ingredients for fentanyl, it's fentanyl. But he smuggled tons of the precursors for both the Sinaloa and Jalisco cartels. He allegedly brought in Chinese chemists, because I guess they don't have enough, to train the cartel's own lab operators on how to do this. Now, we appreciate that Mexico extradited him to us, but it's of serious concern that he escaped from house arrest in China in July in the first place. Theoretically, if you're in house arrest, somebody ought to be making sure that you are staying at home. How's the department working to ensure high-profile criminals in Mexico aren't able to bribe corrupt officials and evade law enforcement? I'll ask both of you, but I'd like to start with you, ma'am, first.
Thank you. Certainly that was a very difficult incident, and I think an embarrassing one for Mexico. We want to make sure that these high-profile targets are brought to justice, as Mexico really made extraordinary efforts to do this year when they transferred 55 long-awaited high-value targets to us. So I believe they have the intent and the will to transfer to us. I will say that there are challenges throughout the system, and there are weak points wherever you have human beings. So we're working together to help identify how we can strengthen their institutions to ensure that these sorts of incidents don't occur.
Thank you. Mr. Lamberg, if you've got any perspective.
Well, I would say that we're working very closely with the Mexican Attorney General's office, and especially we're supporting U.S. law enforcement agencies to work with the AG's office. And I think through that coordination and through specialized units that we support, that's one of the best ways that we can have more control over, like, not only like the detained individuals, but the operations that lead to those detentions and to taking down labs and making seizures. So that is one of the main pillars that INL has been supporting, is increased operations by DEA, FBI, CBP, HSI, and others to be able to have these trusted units that they work with in Mexico, and then increase the level of integrity, of the operations and ensure that we avoid situations like what you were talking
Thank you. I appreciate all of your work, and I think we have a lot more to do. So that, with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.